Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Here we got. This is a deep dive into my long box over here. Um, I realized 2 days ago that I stopped doing comic book showcases, and it started to bother me. And I have a big stack of comics over here that I wanted to do showcase. So I'm just gonna just pull all the comics from my showcase. I'll do them for Sunday comics, and then whenever I get a chance, I'll just do a live video. I kind of like doing live rather than the pre-recorded. It's nice to interact with the chat. I really really enjoy that. It's the closest you're gonna have to just people over hanging out talking about comic books. You know, so I'm gonna go back to doing like I just realized I never finished my DC Who's Who series, so I got to go back to that. I got to fix the some of my playlists. Like I want to put all of those crowdfunding 101s in one playlist, because they'll just get buried. But anyway, first before we continue on talk about comics, let's address the chat. As always, I got my link. A little bit of accounting news. I'm redoing the my storefront, my whatever you want to call it, on my Fund My Comic. So in the next couple of days, I don't think it's done today. I think it might be done by tomorrow. In the next couple of days, if you're curious, if you like my stuff, you could go to Fund My Comic Heroic Tales, and there should be new offerings like merch. Not new comics yet. That's going to be its own campaign. But there'll be new offerings: T-shirts, challenge coins, card sets. The missing cards. Because I made 7 cards and only reached 4 as stretch goals. So things like that. So check up in a couple of days. Who do we got here? We got What Geeks Do Network. Thank you again for the opening music. I love it. It's just punchy. It's punchy and snappy, punchy, and catchy. How you doing? So this is what's on the menu, and I'll talk about the comic in a minute. Hey, Dave Brink is here. The mogul behind Genuine Comics. Love Dave's comics. Love Dave. Dave did an unboxing of Heroic Tales yesterday. Glad that it made it all the way into the old world, safe and sound. It came undamaged. Didn't look right. Amazing what a Gemini mailer and some packing tape will do. You can send stuff all over the world. I think Dave was the last proof of my comic reaching, except for this Canada strike. So that was good. And Dave, did you read it? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you got? What do you got? Dave saying hello to everybody. Marcus, the moderator, is on the ball. We got Smokey the Concat saying hello to everybody. And Marcus already has Genuine Comics new link, Perfect 10. If you like my stuff, you're going to love his stuff. I really like this comic. It's in bad form to call your own comic the best superhero comic. So by default, Genuine Comics Perfect 10 is the best superhero comic coming out right now, mainstream and non-mainstream. I got my blessing. A Blessed Sunday is the best. Yeah, that Perfect 10 looks great. Yeah. I did it, what was it, 2 weeks ago? That artwork is astounding. It was neatly packaged. Cool. Yeah, I saw you open it and it wasn't damaged. I'm just I don't know. Like I was talking to my wife and she was making fun of me. That's what I always laugh when people like they'll give you a ribbing online and they're like, I'm kidding, right? I'm like, dude, my wife was making fun of me yesterday. But I'm just amazed that like I got a cardboard box, basically cardboard envelope, I guess, better word, put a comic book in it, wrap some tape, hand it to a guy in a building, and then 2 weeks later it's around the world in perfect condition. We take stuff like that for granted. We really do. Creative personnel busy coloring Phenomenova page for fun. Cool. Haven't read to it yet, but I'll get to it this week. Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that. You get a big stack of comics. I tried to do my crowdfunding comics first, but even that, a little into my madness. If I read a comic, I try to finish like the series before I start something else. This just came in the mail yesterday, AXA 2. I already read AXA 1, so this had to go first because I just read number 1. And then I read 9 and 10 of Atari Force because I already started before, I was to read. Like I didn't read Goodieing yet because Mike Barron sent it to me. I can't start something new until I finish the stacks of everything that I have. I'm just that weird. I'm just that weird. So, Feldsbug, I heard a little known writer, Mark Miller, enjoyed your book. Thank you. Yeah, he did. That's what he put on Twitter. That's what he put on Twitter. Somebody suggested to ask him for a blurb. Is that the correct word? Yep, to put on. So, I'll do that. Little known insight into my madness is Sundays is the only day I write comics. Saturdays I usually waste. I plan busy Saturdays to do all the stuff that I don't get to do because of work, and then I don't do it. I procrastinate. Last night I was on Don Draw's studio for 3 hours. That was a lot of fun. Duck bacon. Yeah, I was busting his chops. It was a lot of fun. Don, I think Don was pretended to be annoyed, and if Don was annoyed, I apologize. But it makes for an entertaining show. So if you go onto Don Draws stuff, his YouTube channel, the studio for last night, it was just fun. Basically, the gist was I don't like the character Cable, and Duck Bacon was getting pretty upset about it. It was fun. We think Duck was drinking. Yeah, I think he was drinking too. I may have Asperger's. All kidding aside, I have something that went undiagnosed as a kid. I used to take all my toys and line them up, separate them, put them in drawers that were, like I would take like all my Star Wars toys, all the guns. I had like a little dip in the drawer that I put all, and I would put them back. There was a couple of kids in the neighborhood that I would only play. I'd play sports with these guys, play this with these guys, but I couldn't play Star Wars toys with them because they had the personalities for the characters wrong or used the wrong voices. This guy, when we played like Army and physical cowboys and Indian stuff, he didn't know how to live action role play it. You know what I mean? So I had categories for everything, and then I would sit and rock to the point like it would drive people crazy. So I had something, I used to categorize Greek mythology and the King Arthur knights and put them into groups and stuff like. And then when I got to Dungeons and Dragons, I kind of stopped with all of that stuff. But Dungeons and Dragons really scratched that organizing itch. And oh my God, you should see some of my notes for campaigns. And then I like to organize my comics and things like that. So yeah, there you go. Don had a really good show last night, better than any trash cast. Yeah. I just would say, who wants to watch draw streams? A modern day philosopher once said as justification for talking trash. And I'm just like, dude, everybody loves, what's his name? Not Bob Ross, right? Bob Ross. Everybody watches Bob Ross. The guy, till this day, people watching reruns of draw streams, painting streams, just, Asperger's. Don't cast Persians upon me. Don't cast aspersions on me. Duck needed a Snickers bar last night. Yeah, I think he was playing along. It was fun. It was a fun. Yeah. So there you go. So anyway, that's the talk. Oh, this Friday night after it's clobbering time, I might do I will do a toast to the patriarchy. So if anybody has their pint glasses, I'll put an open invite. I think I'm allowed 10 people at a time, but if like I'm flattering myself, like 10 people are even going to show up. But if we have more than that, we'll rotate people out and we'll just, toast to the patriarchy. We'll all have a beer. I think it would be fun. I don't think I need a brand while I'm by myself. So I'll turn that off so you can see more of my wonderful face. You know what? I'll turn it back on. It's only on the little one, not on the big one. So let's talk about comics. So this is Pantheon number 1, 1998. This was by Lone Star Press. Lone Star Press is the same company that does My Comic Shop. Not my local comic. The name of the store is My Comic Shop, but that's my number one go-to place to buy back issue. They got great service. They got reasonable prices. And again, they don't know I exist. I get nothing from them. I'm a free shill because I really like the service, and it's probably not to my best interest to announce this because then you guys are going to get all the comics that I want. But that's where I go to buy back issues first. Then I go to eBay. Then I go to Abe's Books. Then I go to Mile High Comics, because Mile High Comics will have it, but it's I don't know what, it's just the most expensive. It's the most expensive back issue place I found. Link shared on X. What? I'm not on X, or you throwing out. Oh, I see you throwing out. You're okay. Let's talk about coffee. 2 parts Tim Hortons, 1 part Cafe Bustelo, because I'm running low on the Tim Hortons. And like I said, as soon as I'm done with this, I printed out the latest script for Eddie is Doomed, and I want it to be good. I want it to be important. Not that Heroic Tales, I rewrote the script, don't get me wrong, but this Eddie is Doomed, I want it to be like an important thing. So I'm getting really, and Oscar bust my chops. He's like, you got to have more faith in yourself, and I fully agree that Renzo and Oscar have more faith in me than I have in me. Forgive my nose. So that's what I will be doing as soon as I'm done. Just go to Midtown Comics, worth the trip to Manhattan. Yeah, I go to those places, but I'm not going to Manhattan anymore. Screw Manhattan. It's crazy. It's cold. It's expensive just to get to Manhattan for me. I mean, I don't go to Manhattan anymore. The last time I went to Manhattan was after Comic-Con. I met Vaughn Coleman and Chris Inks, and we went and had some food, and then we went on a quest for Rainey. And everywhere we went, Rainey from Fiendish just left. So Rainey was being she was like the celebrity, people were wooing her over and, inviting her to parties. And as soon as she would get someplace, she's like, guys, I'm here now. And by the time we got there, she was already gone. So that's what we did. I did meet Mark Brooks. Me and Mark Brooks had a talk. He started making it political. And I'm not going to back down, but, I'm not going to start a political talk, but I was just like, I'm a Trump supporter and stuff. And he was like, oh, well, not every Trump supporter. I was like, no, most of them. I was like, you're going to say 3/4 of the country is Nazis? And he calmed down. And we got along. We actually got along. And I talked to CB Cebulski, and I was this close to asking him, what's your effing problem? It was a couple of drinks, and I started to loosen up a little bit, but what, you don't want to start a bar fight. Went to a local comic shop in San Antonio area called Heroes and Fantasies. That's pretty cool. And now I got a bunch of people watching. What's the name of your local comic shop? And what's the name of like, is it closed? We should talk about that. That's a good. Hey, Bill is here. Hey, Bill. Why is Bill important? Because Bill wrote this thing. Or did he write? Bill Willingham wrote this thing. So might as well talk about the credits. Bill Willingham, writer, cover, paint. Mike Leake, penciler. Brad Thompt, letterer, and Bill Williams, inker. But I got up an hour and a half ago, and I read this. I'm going to knock over comics. I don't want to do that because then they get little things in the corner. I read this today too. Good job, Bill. Bill wrote this. This is Versima. This is the hero of Punchline. That's Punchline up there. This is Tomorrow Girl. This is the hero of Tomorrow Girl. And Bill, this is my introduction into Tomorrow Girl. As much as I'm into comics, as much as I seek this stuff out, I admit I don't know everything and things escape me. Could you either send me a link or whatever, tell me more about this character? It's kind of interesting. But this is a nice, square bound. They used to have a name for this kind of prestige format comic. It was a good comic, a lot of fun. Introduced me to some characters that I didn't really know. Black Dragon, I actually have some of her characters. Black Dragon's also in that comic. So it's a neat crossover. And Bill, for those of you who also don't know what I'm talking about, Bill is the letterer for my comic. And Bill, man, people are noticing your lettering. People are noticing your lettering. If people, whenever people ask about colorists and letterers and stuff like, I always recommend you. Let me know if that's okay. You know what I mean? But if I recommend you if you oh yeah, Bill Willing. No offense, but Bill Willingham and Bill Williams, my fragile tongue always mixes them up. That's nice. I hope they stay and interact with people on our side, that they eventually calm down. We want yes. And I've said it many times in my, like, people were shocked and like sent me nasty messages when I went and was friendly with Heather Antos. You catch more flies with honey than you do sugar. You know what I mean? I really wanted to get Heather Antos on my channel and have like a legit conversation. You know, coming out swinging and being nasty and calling names is funny and it might get views, but it doesn't solve the problem. So, you know, I would love to have Mark Waid. As much as he irks me, I would love to have Mark Waid. Midtown Comics is a massive collection of back comics between both locations. You never go wrong. Yes, you forget, I worked in Manhattan for like 15 years. I literally worked around the block from Midtown Comics. I have an account there. I think I have like $100 worth of credit for free comics there that I still haven't. I got to go there and claim it. I used to go to both locations. Matter of fact, I have all of these superhero pint glasses that I used to go there like once a week and pick up one, you know, because I for like 4 years, I literally worked right between both locations. Punchline of Tomorrow Girl, look cute in a good way. Yeah. It's a good comic. I love Punchline. Might as well talk about. She's Ben Dunn's character. She spun off from Ninja High School. Okay, I don't even know Ben Dunn. I gotta look into more of it. I enjoyed her costume. I enjoyed, you know, the power set. I enjoyed like the hint of her backstory. Like her father seems to be an aloof scientist. You know, it seems to be some sort of like what's the, I'm trying to pick my words correctly. Like a pastiche. Homage to like Superman and the you know, Silver Age Superman family, but like updated for a modern, or not up there. I'm joking about that. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Bill had a comic in the 90s that was part of this called Heroic Tales, like set in the same universe. So somebody alerted me to that, and I was like, oh, I know these characters. So I reached out to him to see if it was okay if I could use the title. And then other people like, yeah, he blackmailed him into working with him. No, that's not the truth. You know, Bill's like, I do lettering. Do you need lettering? And I saw the lettering in Pantheon, and I was like, absolutely. I want it's the greatest lettering. I mean, guys, check out my comic. The lettering is the best. No disrespect to any other letterers, but I love the lettering in my comic. But anyway, that's how it worked. But I read Punchline because I wanted to, and it's just good. It's just good. I always say Tonic Ball is the best with dialogue. I forget that Bill writes Punchline too. Just the dialogue between the characters is so good. And I think Bill is 102 years old, and he writes like young people's dialogue really, really well. Really, really well. I wish I could. That's if you noticed in Heroic Tales, there was no young people talking. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but John will throw hands if people get nasty. Yeah, well, and I also think I have the wisdom when not to throw hands. Thanks. I finally not good. I guess that's typo there. Yeah, I love Bill's lettering on. Yes, Marcus is one of the people that's been raving about the lettering. Someone else was raving about the lettering. But yeah, Marcus, you can have a disagreement without being disagreeable. Absolutely. Absolutely. The funny thing is, was Mark Brooks' face when he realized that I was politely disagreeing with him after having a pleasant conversation. So I was like living proof that like you were wrong. And to his credit, he pivoted. He didn't, we were in a bar having a couple of drinks. Ben, in a long time manga creator, one of the two brothers that run AP. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why I don't know him. That's why I don't know him. I not that I've been avoiding manga, but I'm not a fan of the manga art. So that pushes me away. Does Tomorrow Girl look like, with the big eyes, manga? If that's the case, then I probably saw it, but I like the character. To each their own. I can't see what talking to Heather, Mark Waid, or Kelly Sue DeConnick would even accomplish. Yes. But at least I could say I tried. And to be mercenary, it would make an interesting video, get some views. You know what I mean? Sometimes just having an echo chamber. I mean, look at Blue Sky. Blue Sky is just an echo chamber and it's dying, right? And then we could prove to other people, you're the problem. You're the problem. I mean, I've had a bunch of people on my channel that outright despise my politics, and we have had pleasant conversations. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Like, there's a bunch of people on my channel, but we talk comics. In indie success, there's sadly a tendency with me against me. Absolutely. Imagine what success we'd have if we focused on making delivery. Yeah. I say this a lot to the point I'm sick of saying it, but I dragged myself into drama. I can't blame anybody else. And I instantly regretted it. And I'm trying not to be allowing myself to bite the bait, Very kind of you. I want to be kind. Be kind. And now Bill's laughing at me after he said be kind, and then he laughs at me. Psych. That's very nice of you. Psych. Thanks a lot, Bill. Hey, Marcus, old dirty fatty, a name that always makes me giggle. So, since now I'm nervous because Bill's here. I'm going to get this wrong, and I'm going to get corrected. But let's look at the back cover. We got all of these superheroes. In my mind, I almost said headcanon. I hate the term headcanon. In my mind, this is the unofficial sequel to the Elementals. Like, to me, it touches on themes that the Elementals brought up. I mean, it's pretty much the same focus. Elementals was created, I forget exactly which year, by Bill Willingham. And then it lasted like 3 seasons, three series rather, and it just faded away after I think it was just horrible administration by Komiko. The rumor has it, and I can't prove it. Maybe Bill Williams knows more than me, but the owner of Komiko got into debt, and then as debt kind of like sold, almost like Hawk, they sold intellectual property with the intentions of getting it back, but it didn't work. And I think Bill Willingham's Elementals was affected by that. I think it was sold out from under him, and to the point where Bill was justifiably angry for a long time. And he was pretty snarky about it when you go on Twitter and you have access to like Bill Willingham, and you're like, oh man, I'm a big fanboy. I love Elements. And he would get like a little nasty. Like when he was doing Fables, he had a forum about his people would talk to him, and I would bring up Elementals, and it was like chirp. But part of me is I can understand that. Like Peter David famously wouldn't sign autograph comics from Hulk because he was upset with the way Marvel just unceremoniously fired him. That's fair, but it's not the fans' fault. And don't take it out on the fan. I think he's softened in the autographs comics now, but for a while he wouldn't. And that's don't take it out on the fans. We were there, at the beginning when the old magic was written. But anyway, Elementals went bye-bye for whatever reason. Maybe Bill will chime in and let me know if I'm correct, Bill Williams. But I miss it. It's so good. And then Michael Turner came out with a character called Fathom, which was like a water breathing girl, which is exactly what this is Elementals. But it's I think he was. Oh, here's a comment right here from a guy who's friends with Bill. I don't want to speak for Willingham, but he sold Elementals to Comico and they mismanaged it from there. There you go. Okay, there you go. So I didn't know he sold it. I thought it was scooped out from under him. That doesn't make it any better. It was still mismanaged, and it was one of my favorite comics. But anyway, it's kind of ironic that I'm a proponent of like blue sky superheroes, like a return to like good guys fighting, bad guys. But the Elementals was the first comic to like. I truly believe this, that the Elementals set the way for Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, in that they started the trend of like realistic superheroes, as bizarre as that sounded. Bill Willingham was really, really good with like, this is how powers work. This is how powers will work if you interject real, as RJ from the Fourth Age, quote unquote, real physics into it, and real consequences and real stakes. Like people, it was a bloodbath in the Elementals. It was like a shocking for a kid. There was sex offenders, there was cannibal vampires and murders every issue. And the Elementals were just like, all right, we're going to kill the bad guys, and that was a big shock. I remember, I think it was the last issue of one of the comics, the youngest kid, who's 14 years old, but he's got this elemental spirit. So he could age forever, but always look. So you think of him as a kid, and he's just like, yeah, we're going to kill the villains now. This isn't a comic book where you put him in a jail and he escapes. He goes, if you got superpowers and you're committing crimes, you die, and it was shocking. It was shocking. And then there was like, it went to like a bizarre, like porn comics it was really weird. Just a weird phase. Just like, and then that disappeared as fast as it went. And then this guy took over as far as drawing. What was his name again? Mike Leake. So let's open up so this is nothing to do with the Elementals, but it just like touches some of the themes. So here we got, I think Mike Leake did some art for FemForce also. Okay, so publisher, editor, Bill Williams. There you go. Keith Williams designed the Pantheon logo. Bill Willingham. Dynasty, Blackheart. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. Blackheart is Bill Williams, who's here in the chat. That's his latest Kickstarter. So I backed it. Blackheart is in this comic. I hope you guys who are seeing this are get a little bit interested, in the character, but you'll see this. So there's a Dynasty, Blackheart, Ivanhoe, and the rest of the Freedom Machine are trademarks of Bill Willingham, Mike Leake, and Bill Williams. Copyright 1988. So there you go. Focus, John. Too much Cafe Bastillo. So I will bring this over here. So now we got some food. Oh my God. They're eating foodsies. They're sitting in no, she's not sitting in the cafe Starbucks talking about food. She's sitting on the freaking moon. She's sitting on the freaking moon. Hey, Bill, does the food get colder faster on the moon? But this is Dynasty. This is Dynasty. Dynasty's eating some food on the moon. And just look at this art. I would really love to see Daniel Rodriguez, De La Silva Rodriguez, my colorist. I would love to see him color this. Oscar Carreno, I'd love to see them color. But here's Dynasty. This is Sundiver. And we got some. I'm just trying not to bend the comic. It's driving me nuts. They're having a conversation on the moon. Wonderful to see again. Space alien. And he's saying that there's trouble. There's trouble on the Earth. There's trouble on the Earth. There's always trouble, she says. But who is Dynasty? It's a really interesting superhero. Dynasty is like a Superman level character that passes on the power through their daughter. So it's a dynastic ability. When she dies, her daughter gets her powers. So there's always a dynasty. Cool name. I love superhero names. And Sundiver. I'm not interested in helping the Earth. Dynasty, grow up. Do humans concern themselves with the welfare of ants under their feet? Some do. So she's convincing them to help. You used to be human once. Humans used to be clouds of invisible hydrogen gas, parts of the exploding stars, nebula of exact. Everything changes, but nothing is lost. Hey, why don't you come with me? Now he's hitting on her. So Sundiver, I really like the concept, and it's something I would like to explore of a human that is I guess evolution changed, whatever, transformed into a higher being, like a super being, and like and then like loses touch with his former life. Perfect example, Dr. Manhattan. I love Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan is by far my favorite character from The Watchmen. I mean, and Rorschach, it close second. But I just love that, the whole concept of you're on a different consciousness. I don't want to say plane because that invokes dimensions and multiverse stuff like that, but on a higher consciousness. So that's what Sundiver is. Sundiver evolved, changed, transformed, whatever word you want to use, from a normal human to this being, and lost touch with his humanity. It's like the opposite of a Pinocchio. What would be the opposite of a Pinocchio? The character. I always say that like a Pinocchio is one of my favorite comic book tropes. Is the being that lost its humanity and craves to be human again. So despite its monstrous non-human appearance, is the most human in the group. Like Ben Grimm from The Thing is the classic Pinocchio. Hulk is kind of a Pinocchio. Hellboy, even though he was never human. Atomic Robo. So this is the opposite. This is like Dr. Manhattan. Does Dr. Manhattan long to be human again? Can anybody? Bill, you're a good writer. But Sundiver lost its human, succumbed to the One Ring. I just realized I'm ignoring the chat. I'm sorry, everybody. I'll finish this page and then I'll so Sundiver's kissing on Dynasty, and she ain't having none of that. I forgot about this solar prominence ponytail. Nice touch. Who designed all of these characters? Let's go back. The cover makes me want to read that book. I highly recommend the book. You could get a trade paperback. You could go to my comic shop, which is Pantheon Comics, Lone Star Comics, and pick them up. You could get, or you could talk to Bill Williams. I think there's other options that I don't know about. On my way to church, gotta go to church. Get your soul cleansed. I don't want to speak to William, but he sold them. Oh, I already got these. After Pantheon, Mike went to draw for Valiant. Oh, okay. Jim Cox is now hungry. Well, that means that he drew the food really deliciously. I like Mike Leake. I saw him last. I gotta focus my mind. Focus my mouth. I asked Mike Leake. Last I saw of him was work for Valiant. Oh, Stippling Vaughn. Oh, Stippling Vaughn. Hey, how you doing, Stippling? How's everything? Stippling, I was thinking of doing long box awards. What do you think about this? I want to do long box awards, make an award show where I award myself awards. Make like I'm gonna buy like 6 trophies, put my name on them already, and like nominate other people, and then win and open up in an envelope. Make like a whole hour-long presentation where I award myself. What do you think about that, Stipper? Would you be my co-host? The ambient temperature on the moon is just cold. Yes, that food. Unless she used her dynastic heat vision to keep the food warm. Hey, Marcus, John. Hey, how you doing, Jim? I can't type that well. Hey, you can. Yeah, you can. It's 2 hands on the wheel, Marcus. 2 and 10. Oh, you driving? No, Marcus is home. I was pretty sure what you meant. Okay. Never trust a guy in a ponytail. Yeah. 2 and 10 dates you've won. That went away with the event of airbags. Oh, geez. Now you're going to have to super chat to get John's attention. You don't have to super chat. I get embarrassed. I'm not discouraging you from sending me money. You want to send me money? Because any super chat stuff goes to paying for StreamYard. StreamYard's getting expensive, so I don't want to discourage you from super chatting. But I'm not at the point where everything whips by. I try to see every attention, everybody saying hello. Everybody's saying hello. I think Dr. Manhattan accepted his new state of being and wonders what's next. He falls back on being a scientist. Yeah, yeah. Did he lose touch? I think he lost touch for a while, and at the end, he just was like, "Yeah, I recognize that I don't belong here. That I lost my connection to the earth, my emotional connections, everything like that, and I have the ability to explore. So why not? Or is it cope that he has a broken heart? Is he more human than he lets on? That's why I find Dr. Manhattan fascinating. Like I think all of these arguments can be made for him. You know, again, I'm still an Alan Moore fanboy. I know it's cool to hate on Alan Moore these days, but I am absolutely still an Alan Moore fanboy. I drive with my hands at 12 and 6. It's the superior way to drive. Sounds like streaming gold. Do that show. For Manhattan, going back to Earth would have been like going back to high school. It's funny, a little personal anecdote. In 2000, I moved back to New York after living in San Francisco. I got a job at a law firm. I had an office overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was excruciatingly bored to the point I hated it. I hated it. And one of the big wig lawyers, he took a liking to me. I was in my office blasting punk rock while doing the legal research. And he was like, what is this? I never heard music like this. And he would just sit there. And it's funny because all the girls in the firm were like, who's this new guy talking? And it was also, I showed up to work with a tie. Everybody else had like Birkenstocks and stuff like that because it's San Francisco. So I stood out like a sore thumb. Being in New York, or you go to work at a law firm, you dress nice. And he was like, so, what law school are you going to? I'm like, I ain't going to law school. I don't want to. He's like, get out of here. Don't work here. If you don't want to be a lawyer, this is what you're going to be doing. This is do you want to do this? I can tell you're bored already. I was like, no, he goes, get out of here. So I saved up enough money, moved back to New York. It was excruciating. And why did I bring that up? Oh, so I'm back in New York, and I'm moved back in with my parents. It's just the cheapest thing. So now here I am, full on adult, graduated college, ready to start my life. And I'm living in my bedroom that I grew up in. And I'm sitting on the porch. It was a nice summer day. I'm reading comics. And who comes walking down the street? My high school girlfriend. She ended up getting married, bought a house around the block for me, got divorced. And now she's walking down the block with her daughter. And she's sitting there, we're talking, and she asked me out. I'm just like, no. I've been away for so long. I'm living with my parents' house. I'm living in my old bedroom. I'm going to date my high school girlfriend again. Dr. Manhattan moved on. Johnny Longbox is moving on. We have an award show. You're the show to win. The only way for creators to steal is with the $50. There you go. A real screwball scoundrel way to get super chats. Hit me up, Vaughn. We'll talk about it. I worked for my dad. He was a lawyer. I used to serve. Oh, that's not a fun job. That's not a fun job at all. Anyway, Bill Williams is sitting there going, turn the page, Johnny, turn the page. So I will turn the page. So I love this. I love this. Can you read this? I'll bring it up. If Armageddon itself is coming, it's still only local news. How is that? Bam. Great characterization in one sentence. One sentence. Perfect characters. Everything you need to know about Sundiver is right there in that word balloon. Awesome. Bill, awesome writing. Awesome writing. Bill, when he was lettering my script, he suggested things too. So if you like my script, you gotta say thank you, Bill, for helping John. And who the hell is messaging me now that I'm live? It never fails. My phone, nothing, and now people send me messages every time I go. Sorry to have wasted so much. Wait, there's another more compelling reason you could. What? I'm not the only prodigal returning. I saw the Outrider. He's less than 30,000 light years away. He's coming home fast. I, for one, don't intend to be here when he arrives. So now the Outrider is coming. And I totally forgot that you had a character named Outrider. So there goes another revision on a future script. So now I'm pretending that I'm not interested in the earth, but actually I'm kind of scared, and you should be scared too. And here we go. She's going to the earth. Why? Because she's a good guy. Is he evil? Would you characterize him as evil? I would selfish, cowardly, you know, not outright evil, you know. As I recall, you two didn't exactly part on pleasant terms. That creepy bastard scares even me, so you must be ready to pee your pantalones. Pantaloons. I have to go. Goodbye. Stay well. And I love this panel. Bill, when you wrote the script, did you give like panel by panel descriptions, like a full script? You know, I just like the body language and, you know, the sense of distance, you know, like you do feel a little bit of loss for this character. I suggested minor things. Yeah, but minor, the devil's in the details. The devil's in the details. Sundiver is more self-absorbed. Yeah, selfish, self-absorbed. So now we are in Philadelphia. Philadelphia. My nephew lives in Philadelphia. I should go and visit him. He's getting married. So now we got this nice cityscape over here. Notice, like, well, it makes sense that there's more lights and shadows and darkness because we're in actual Earth now rather than floating around in space. And cops are chasing. Boom, boom, boom. The guy's about to fall to his doom. Frank, I can't hold on. Ta-da! He gets saved. And who's that? That's Blackheart. And who's Blackheart? Bill, is it safe to say he's a Batman type? He's a Batman homage, pastiche. What is the cool word to say? Because I wearing my patriarch is a homage to Superman, and I made him as different as I could, and I have a Batman homage. So what is the correct word? Inspired by, you know, what is the correct word? So this is Blackheart, and Bill just finished up a Kickstarter of a Blackheart comic. So if you're interested in this, Bill, can people still jump on that? Can people still get some of that? So what does he do? I like this. He saves the cop, and he tells him, good. Oh, are you injured? No, I guess not. I'm okay. Good. You're done here for the night. You and your fellow officers could pull back. He belongs to me now. I like this for a bunch of reasons. I like this for a bunch of reasons. It shows his power. I mean, is it possible to lift a full-grown adult with one arm like that? Not unless you got superpowers. But we allow it. You know, Batman can do it. Well, Moon Knight has superpowers, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, it's just a superhero trope that and then he stays. He doesn't just save the guy, toss him over there, and keep running to get the bad guy. He actually stops. Are you injured? Do you need assistance? Are you good? Now go home. Things are going to get dirty. And I don't need you to witness this or get in the way or get hurt, whatever interpretation you want. But it's an indication of the personality of this character. Really, really good. Really good. Like, I was about to compliment myself, and then I realized I only got one comic, so I still got to prove myself. I'm still a rookie, but like, this is the kind of stuff that inspired me, you know, like Mike Barron says, the fewest words possible to convey the most information. You know, it's real sneaky in the best sense of the word. Like, I'm being informed of this guy's character and what he has. If you want to count this, 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, and we already know a lot of his character. Excellent stuff. Before I turn the page, let's address the chat. Philadelphia is the most Isley of the United States, full of scum and villainy. I would say that's Washington, D.C., but I said I'm not going to Manhattan. I ain't definitely going to Philadelphia these days. Oh, my God. Oh. Stay out of the cities, ladies and gentlemen. Stay out of the cities. It's just falling apart. Let's just hope that the pendulum swings and the cities start getting cleaned up. But, you know, when I was in my 20s, Manhattan, going to punk shows, hanging out in the village, you know, doing all that stuff. I almost just coughed and sprayed all over the comic. But here in my 50s, I'm out here in the woods. I'm out here in the sticks. And this is where I want to be. Matter of fact, The only change I would make is even farther in the woods, even farther in the woods. Just put a telephone pole with a wire. Or maybe I could get Starlink, and then I don't have to even have a wire. I'm pooping in that house. I've been pooping in the porta potties for 25 years at work. I'll go to an outhouse. At least it's mine, and it only gives comfort to my hiney. There you go. I'm talking weird today. Yes, a close relative. I think the campaign is open for late pledges. The hard copies will ship on time. There you go. There you go. There you go. And then there's Jimmy Griffin. Moon Knight should not have superpowers. Who is Jimmy Griffin? Jimmy Griffin is the co-creator of Lucius Kane, the suit. I should have. I didn't think of it, but I'm going to have to acknowledge that in the letters page for next issue of Heroic Tales. Jimmy Griffin came up with me. He's a friend of mine. We've been friends since third grade. We play role-playing games, and he wanted to make a villain, and he had the idea of a villain who wears a pristine suit that's the source of all of his powers, and call him the Suit. And it really works better as an NPC. Like, what are you going to do? Like, go to executive board meetings, and so we role-played 1 or 2 sessions, and that was it. And then I rolled him into the character. So it's funny because I kind of forgot that. And I was like, hey, Paul, one of your characters is going to, my friend Paul, one of your characters is going to debut in issue 2. Mike, one of your characters. And Jimmy's like, what about me? And I'm like, yeah, I think you got a full-on story around 4 or 5. And then I'm like, wait a minute, your character's half of Heroic Tales. So there you go. But Moon Knight, the only power I like with Moon Knight is the ability that his strength gets better with the waning and waxing of the moon. I'll accept that. I'll accept that power. So I'm all caught up on comments. And let's go to the next page. This just caught me off guard. Hey, howdy, numbnuts. I don't know. Yes, cheap humor sometimes makes me laugh. So howdy, numbnuts. See you around. Nice to almost have met you. And what was that? Boom. Total distraction. Perfect. Total distraction. The sidekick just shows up, doesn't fight, doesn't do anything. Just, you can even see his head's turned and doesn't notice Blackheart. Excellent. Perfect distraction. Tosses away the gun and don't hurt me. I give. And what does he do? He burns them kind of like lobster. Oh, you can't see. He burns them with this ring. That's what the Phantom did that. Lobster Johnson from Hellboy does that. He goes, quit your blubbering, boy. You'll live. There's no comment, so I'll just continue going. Hurts, doesn't it? The mark is permanent, boy, and it's burned in deep. You find you can cover it. You find you can't cover it or cut it away. Graft new skin over it, my mark will burn through again. It's my brand. It means I own you now, body and soul. But I'm giving you a choice, one chance for mercy. After that, justice only. Take my word for it, fool. You won't like his idea of justice. Sorry, just trying to help. Leave my city tonight, never return, not ever. If you do, I don't know. My mark will always tell me where you are, what you're up to. Come back here and no one will ever see you again. Now get lost. Nice to see things remain constant even in these troubled times. So, this begs the question, is this all a bluff? Does he have mystic powers? Does he have superpowers? Will he kill him? I've seen issues of Batman where, he throws somebody off the roof and then swings down and catches them and says, hey, I could miss next time. You know what I mean? So I love this because this is the first appearance. We don't know. And I just loved. Oh, we got a comment squeaking in. Crenshaw. Good morning, John, in the chat. Good morning, Crenshaw. How you doing? How's everybody? A lot of people watching. So now what do we have here? We got the brave and the bold. We got Superman meeting Batman. It's just. Can I wax a little bizarre right now? It's Apollo and Dionysus. It's a meeting of it's a team up that just. Conflict and everything and throughout human history, throughout the story of civilization. Apollo being Superman, Dionysus being Batman. the sun figure and the night figure, everything rationalization, sunlight, logic versus mystery and darkness. It's just it's get your chocolate out of my peanut butter. It's just a team up that just works so well. There's a reason why Batman and Superman, the all-powerful being versus the guy who needs guile and mystery. I really do like that dynamic of a superpowers meets normal. It's so cool, so fun. And here is a person. This is Bill's twist on it. Superman, Batman, Apollo, Dionysus, logic, reason, everything exposed by the sun, and mystery, stealth, sneakiness. You shouldn't fear Superman, but you should fear Batman. And if you're making a movie where people are afraid of Superman, you got the character wrong. Fundamentally, you got the character wrong. If you're making a movie where everybody's like, oh, that's Batman. Yeah, Batman is supposed to be scary. Batman's supposed to be a mystery. Batman's supposed to be tricky, sneaky, dangerous. Like it's like Batman is supposed to be like you see a cat and all of a sudden the cat gets cornered and it puffs itself out to make itself big. That's what Batman. He's got no powers, so he needs to put on these airs and pretensions that he's more powerful than he is. It's is it bluff? Is it planning? Is it prep time? Whatever. But that's what Batman is supposed to be. And then Superman, paradoxically, is supposed to. He has all that power. He has all that awe and majesty, and he's depuffing himself. Making himself friendly and warm and open. And if you don't do that in your movies, Scott Snyder, you're getting the characters wrong. So there we go. So now you must be the new Valentine. So we got Blackheart and Valentine. The name just since the car accident, man, names are just flipping through my mind like sands through the hourglass. Blackheart and Valentine, Batman and Robin. Aren't you cute? Little boy meets Va-Va-Voom girl for the first time. Little boy doesn't know how to handle it. This is grown-up talk, son. Go find a cop and return the lady's purse. Can I get going? And I'm out of smokes, so hit the 7-Eleven on the way back. Superhero who smokes. Oh no, what would Bill Quesada say? Using your sidekicks to fetch cigarettes. That's setting an example. Is there some point to your visit? I'm calling an emergency meeting of the Freedom Machine. The Freedom Machine. Definitely evokes the Justice Machine, another comic that I highly recommend. Bill Williams and I are roughly the same age, so we've been reading the same comics. Elementals was in Comico, and how do you say Comico or Comico? Comico or Comico? And the Justice Machine by Mike Gustovich, who did by Indiegogo cover, did the creator of the Justice Machine. So like I said, Bill and I read the same comics, and the Elementals actually introduced me to the Justice Machine. So I kind of like how it rhymes. It's poetry. It rhymes. So what's it? Count me out. It's a meeting of all members, past the present. I don't do that stuff anymore. It distracts from my real work. And you know what? I just like that. I know I'm wrong. Absolutely know I'm wrong. But it's my hill to die on. Batman should not be on anybody's team. And if Batman is on your team, it's because he's gathering information. He's gathering information that he can't get. But Batman works best as a street level, enforcer of the streets, like one step above the Punisher. Him in the Justice League going to other dimensions and other planets. It just I don't like it. I was real happy when Batman quit the Justice League and started the Outsiders, and then he left the Outsiders, and then went back to I don't know. And I know in a comic book you want to have The Avengers, you want to have all your best characters. Like Spider-Man shouldn't be on the Avengers. Wolverine shouldn't be on the Avengers. But I know that from a marketing point, they put all the top dogs on the Avengers and sell the comic. And in DC, they're going to put all the top dogs in the Justice League. You know, I got no problem with Batman and the Super Friends, but I don't like Batman and Justice League. Your real work looking after my city, always. I'm afraid that's not good enough, Blackheart. There's a fight coming and everybody knows. Sooner or later, you have to choose sides, not me. You know? So what's going on? There's a threat going on. There's a threat that's causing Sun Driver to flee. You know, and we didn't see what Sun Driver can do, but he's flying in space, talking with the Superman type character who just left the moon. Something scary is about to go down. So it's so scary that you can tell by the look at the body language over here. This is a being who could crush diamonds, leaning away from Blackheart. There's something scary about Blackheart. Like I said, at this point, we don't know. Is he mystical? Is it all a bluff? Is he powerful that way? We don't know, you know. And she's pulling away from him. You know, there's always that trope where Batman beats Superman, which it doesn't work that way. But and Blackheart is fanatic. Is that the word? Zealot? Is that the word? He's got his mission and he's sticking to the mission. No more of this global superhero globetrotting nonsense. Because you can't be hide forever behind imaginary territorial boundaries. What are you going to do when this thing spills over to your precious turf? I'll deal with it then, decisively. You know, and look at this. This is Dionysus staring down Apollo right here. I just love this stuff. I just love this stuff. I don't know if that's what Bill was going for, but Bill, you did it. You know, sometimes the writing escapes the writer, you know, and whatever. So now we got Dynasty. And I just, every time I hear Dynasty, I think of the Kiss album, you know, with the I was made for loving you, baby. That name of that album is Dynasty. So I can't help but think right here as she's flying, we got a Kiss song. Tonight, I was made for loving you, baby. So we're on a private island off the western coast of Scotland. She comes flying down. Hello, old timer. Karen. So I love this. You know, right away, we know she comes off with a quip, funny little, you know, that's how people are. You're friends with somebody, old timer, Karen. And he calls it Karen. Bless you. It's been a long time. How are you, dear girl? Good. All things considered. You know, I love this. Just, I don't know. I like how there's no backgrounds over here. And I like how there's no frame. This is neat. This is neat. I'm noticing this for the first time. I'm sure I noticed it when I read it last time, but I'm noticing it again for the first time. How there's a frame, and then there's no frame and there's no background, and it's just two friends. I don't know, something about it is warm and friendly. Let's see the chat. Eric the Guapo, Superman and Batman shouldn't be in the Justice League. It's antithetical to both characters. I don't have a problem with Superman being in the Justice League. And, you know, and I don't know. I don't have a problem with Superman. But and I'm torn because it makes sense for Batman to be on it. But like when I see Batman like on Jupiter fighting interdimensional robots and stuff like that, it changes the characters, you know. And then he's going to go back and stop a mugger. What do you call resurrection? Yes, Moon Knight was resurrected, or was he? You know what I mean? I love that stuff. You know, Moon Knight was resurrected, but did a real doctor call him? Was he really dead? You know, as an electrician over at a job that I was on that got hit with a high voltage. He got hit with the high voltage so bad that they had to amputate his arm and his leg, and supposedly he was dead for 14 minutes and they revived him. Does he have superpowers? You know, that's part of the mystery. That's part of the mystery. So now we got good enough for a retired old campaign. Oh, you can't see the words. You know, look at this beautiful garden they're in. But I guess once we're defeated all the old villains, there was just too many heroes with nothing else to do. So I like this little dialogue. You want to go on one last adventure? Why? What's the matter now? I thought we'd slain all the dragons, brought down the wizard kings, and chained up all the great beasts. Has one of them broken loose? No. Oh dear, what is it? I guess once we so here comes the gist of the story. The gist of the story. And again, this is what, Bill, would you say this is fair that this continues the themes started in the elementals, or how do you feel it when I say that? I guess once we're defeating all the old villains, there were too many heroes left with nothing to do. Maybe it's inevitable we start fighting each other. So I love this. We've always had our fix the camera. We've always had our rose deer. Look at this. It's a fleet of I hate when people call them Pegasuses, because Pegasus was the name of the flying. Just like I hate when people the race of Medusas. No, Medusa was one of the Gorgons. Gorgons are the race. What is the race of Pegasuses? So Pegasus is the name of one flying horse. So Florses. Yeah, they're Florses. So there's a whole fleet of Florses. There's a faction among us, very strong. We got to take the final step. Now that the villains are done away with, they think it's time to take over the reins of the political power. Boom. What's the premise of this comic? Superheroes have beaten all the villains. Now they're going to take over the world, create order. And that is a theme from the elementals. Usher in a new world utopia with us in charge of humanity. Take over mankind for their own good, to protect them from themselves? Yes. Compelling ideas, which always leads to dirty business. Seems I've been out of touch for too long. There you go. This was 1998. This is, after the Watchmen and everything, but I love that. I just love that all of the good guys, the old Dead Kennedy song, all the liberators really want to be dictators. Be careful of these activists who want to save you from themselves. And what was it that C.S. Lewis said? Out of all the dictators and tyrannies, the worst one would be those who are doing it for your own good, because they'll never stop. I love it. Oh, we got a what's his superhero name? Multimeter. Oh, that's dark. You're talking about the guy that got blasted by electricity? Oh, that is dark. That is. I shouldn't laugh. I think Dynasty is an inkling what Daedalus has planned. A foreshadowing from the future. It's very stressful to do a comic when the writer is in the chat, guys. I'm trying to be highfalutin and in the astute with my observations. So I'm so terrified to drag you back in. Where do you stand against them empathically, and who stands with them? Yes, you're the inker. You're the inker. I keep. You're the publisher, editor, and the inker. Bill Willingham's the writer. I know. I'm sorry. But one of the creators who stands with them. We believe Daedalus is the ringleader. So I didn't want to address your comment until the comment, but Daedalus is the bad guy, the good guy, bad guy. He's the architect, the engineer, the troublemaker, the words are difficult. Words are difficult, guys. Of all of this, he's the demiurge. That's the word I was looking for. He hasn't drawn away members of the machine, but it looks like the oddities will go with him as a group. They're a tight family. The bestiary are straddling the fence, and I take it they're waiting to see which side is more likely to win before they commit themselves. You look like a woman in a hurry. I guess I shouldn't wait for an answer. So, this guy's torn. You're right. I want to help. I love my life. So what do? Do you address it? No, you don't. It'll take me a day or two to close things down. Then I'll join you. if that won't be too late, of course not. Thank you, my hero. Ivanhoe. There you go. That's the name. And you know what? I went to a dentist, and he's a very Russian guy, very stern. Like, he would come in, slam the door, like throw down his gloves, and you'd see the dental assistants. He always hired beautiful dental assistants. Oh my God. Of every flavor. Yeah. Black, Russian, Japanese, whatever, but they were always beautiful. Hispanic. Oh my God, I love going to that dentist. I think I need this. I would eat an entire box of like Cheez-Its and then get my teeth cleaned. But they would get nervous. And then when I had a root canal, and he was working on my tooth, and he whispered something to the dental assistant, and you could hear her crying as she's working on my teeth. And so I was like, what's going on? So when he came in I had a cap came off my tooth. I had to go back in, and I was just sitting there, and the girl was doing the gum and everything. And then he came in, and I was reading. I was sitting there reading, waiting for him to come in. And we just started talking about books, and he recommended Ivanhoe. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll read Ivanhoe. He's like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Dumas. Blah, blah, blah. So I went, and I just happened to need a new book. One of the things I do is I carry a book to work, but I read comic books at home. I don't want to bring comic books to work. So I always have a book in my backpack. And I loved it. I loved it. First appearance of Robin Hood, if you're interested. And so we talked about that. And then ever since then, whenever I got my checkups or whatever, he's always like, hey, John, and one of the dental assistants go, what did you say? I've never seen him like this. Like, he was like friendly and pleasant. So there you go. Has nothing to do with this comic, just a little personal information. We got some mountains over here. Mount Thunder. Oh, you can't read. Mount Thunder in Eagle County, Colorado. I like that when they mix the real with the fake. Like Science City is near Yuma, Arizona. In my world, that's the city that the Patriarch patrols. I kind of like it because it gives you like a real. Like, for all I know, there is a Mount Thunder, but no, there probably isn't. But I like that because it gives you a concrete place to picture. If you're like me, whenever somebody's like, when you say Philadelphia, without even realizing it, I create a map in my world, in my mind. Like, I picture it, and I kind of rotate this imaginary globe and center it on Philadelphia. So now my brain is rotating towards Colorado. And when I moved to Albuquerque, my map, like right now, my map, the center of my map is New York, because that's where I live. But when I lived to Albuquerque, without even realizing it, subconsciously, my world, the center was Albuquerque. When I lived in San Francisco, the same thing. So I kind of like that. So when I'm thinking of Heroic Tales, this map rotates, and it's in Arizona, and I try to, it makes it real, even though there's not a Science City. That's why sometimes like Metropolis and Gotham, it keeps it a little distant from me. Like, I like that Spider-Man is in Manhattan. Wakanda, I know, is in sub-Saharan Africa. I don't know exactly where, but we're given enough. And I know Metropolis and Gotham City is the eastern coast of America. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. But I'm familiar with that area, so I need more information to make it real, if that makes sense. So like Hub City, is Hub City Chicago, where the question was, and then Central City and I'm trying to think of all the other, Opal City and Starman. Just tell me exactly, not exactly, but tell me like what state are they in? South Utah, whatever. But I like this. So we got Mount Thunder in Eagle County, Colorado. The question was St. Louis. Was it St. Louis? Because it was Hub City. I always thought Hub City was Chicago, because Chicago being the hub. But I'm not claiming to be. And hello, Dale. So anyway, we got the meeting. As the secretary, we will call roll call. Is this formality strictly necessary? In this case, yes. I want complete records. Fable. Attention to roll. So I love this. this is the kid in me. This is the child in me. I love this. I freaking love this to the heavens and back. All the superheroes sitting around a table, do it roll call. Oh my God. It's just so much fun. Is it unnecessary? Yes, it's totally unnecessary, but it serves two purposes. Or maybe three. It tells us who the characters' names are. And it's just harkens to like the Justice Society, that cover of them sitting around the table, and then the other Justice League with them sitting at the table playing cards. It's just it's upholding classic superhero tradition. I freaking love it. And then it's just fun. It's just fun. So there you go. Three things. So we got Dynasty. We got Gulliver, Bifrost, Fable. I have a character called Fable. Damn, I forgot. Blackheart, not coming. Fortress America. Look at this. Fortress America. It's so freaking cool. Fortress America. Do you guys understand why I go off on the names of superheroes? Do you guys understand why I it's strict to have a cool name as the focal point of a superhero? Fortress America. Look at that guy. You know everything about it. Whether you realize it or not, your subconscious, if you're a comic book guy, your subconscious, you filled in all the details. Now, maybe Bifrost, if you're not a mythology person, you're like, oh, what is Bifrost? It's not a common enough word, but I know what it means. You know what I mean? So whatever. But so I'll give that one a pat, but it's a cool name and it works. But Fortress America, boom goes the dynamite. It's just so freaking cool. Manitou, Shadow Pax, Sundiver, also not coming. Minerva, Daedalus, missing, presumed what retired, and Tangaroa, no longer interested in the surface world. There you go. Denny O'Neil grew up in East St. Louis and based it on that. Okay. Just when I heard Hub City, I just always thought it was, hub, like Chicago is the hub of like all these. So I just assumed. But you know what? Now that you made me think of it, and I got the brain juices flowing, you're probably right. Originally, Gotham was just New York, and DC decided to call it Gotham, an old name. Yeah, it's funny because if you're down in the Wall Street area, you'll see Gotham written on sewer caps, and you can't help but just picture like this Batman coming out, the sewer cap picking up, rotating a little bit, and Killer Croc underneath there or something like that, and then there's a couple of trucks that say like Gotham Works on it and things like that. Do you think it's easier to write a fake location or a real one? Again, I'm a rookie, so I don't want to sound super pretentious, but I like writing in Science City because it's all mine. If I make a mistake, you don't know I meant that, so it's easier in that location. But there will be real locations, like my Batman character, who I'm going back to the name of the Raven. He, I'm really torn because the Patriarch is the hero of Science City, and you really. He does such a good job and he's so experienced. You don't really need another one. And there's not. So I was thinking of the Raven, like being from New York, and when they meet up, he travels to meet the Patriarch. So, but I'm familiar with New York, so that's going to be easy. But to set a character in like Philadelphia, I've been to Philadelphia, but I don't know it real. That just takes research. But Sun City, I have a map. I literally have a map drawn out that might debut in issue 3, like a centerfold map. Remember how old comics used to have real maps to fake places? Because Renzo used to be a technical artist, so he says he has no problems doing maps. So, did I answer your question? Hey, Paul, how you doing? Paul is another one of my players. His character debuts in issue number 2. He's got a small cameo. There's 2 stories in issue number 2. There's the Patriarch. The name of that story is Subterranean Homesick Blues. And the Patriarch mentions Paul's character Magnum, and in the Endless Possibilities, the Mary Sue debut story, you actually see what Magnum looks like. There's like an Ozymandias type wall of cameras where they focus in on all the superheroes, and you see his character. So there you go. These days, just millennials walking the dogs come out of sewers on Wall Street smoking weed. Oh my God. Paul just said something that my wife and I, once you hit the border to Queens, it just smells like pot. Oh my God, it just smells like pot. Queens, Manhattan, I don't know about Brooklyn. I don't know about Staten Island. I don't know about the Bronx, but oh my God, Queens and Manhattan just stink like marijuana, and it drives me nuts. Duckburg is in the state of Kalasta. Duckburg, where's it? DuckTales. And then I don't imagine it's news for anyone. We're in some sort of trouble. We've lost some of our biggest guns, primarily Daedalus, who's most likely a leading force in the growing opposition. Bad luck. Bad luck. His sympathies have been obvious for years. Fair enough. We're undermanned, but there's some help coming in a couple of days, and I have another idea for a boost of our manpower. I promise. We advance all members of the teen machine, to full freedom machine status. What? They're still kids. Yeah, but they're well-trained kids. We need them. Unusual problems require unusual solutions. Next issue, unusual solutions. Dun, dun, dun. Now, in praise of hoary old cliches, a few thoughts on the creation of the Pantheon storyline. Yeah, I think. Oh, you can't see this. In praise of hoary old cliches. So I think I was harping on how much I love hoary old cliches. Apollo and Dionysus, sitting around the table, that old trope cliches. Are they interchangeable words? And a plug, surely you jest. Scorecard. So now we got the name of all the characters on the cover, and you better believe I freaking love this. Let's see how many names I have to change, because I may or may not have forgotten. So we got Daedalus in the chair. So no surprise over here. They're having the auspicious meeting, and Daedalus is watching. So what powers do you think Daedalus would have? Manitou. Where's Manitou? Oh, he put numbers on them, and there's Manitou over here. Fortress America, Gulliver, Sundiver, Commander Cross. Where's Commander Cross? Number 6. I'm having trouble seeing the numbers. Commander Cross over here. Menagerie. Oh, God, I have to change the name. Bill, is it okay if I use Menagerie? Where's Menagerie? Shadowpax, Bifrost, Midas, Maestro, Minerva, Holiday. Where's Holiday? That's interesting. I want to see what Holiday looks like. Where's 13? Come on. The numbers are too small for my old tired eyes, and this is not riveting enough to continue talking. 13, Holiday. Okay. Dynasty, Fable, Ivanhoe, Blackheart, Valentine, Tangaroa is 19. Where's Tangaroa? No longer interested in everything on the surface world. 19. Over here. The Teen Machine. Troubleshooter. Damn, that's another name. Virago, Cosmos, Raptor, Mora, Tess, Joe, Fandango, Stonehenge, Eden, Lodestone, another name I have. Johnny Venture, leader of the Darkside Rangers. Derek, a Darkside Ranger. And there we go. And Pantheon, store card extra featuring the oddities. So we got Boulder, Afterlife, Dr. Odd, Hotshot, Dr. Megio, Chaos Nation. Death Boy, Kid Babylon. I freaking love this character. I freaking love this character. Oh my God. Guys, pick up this comic book and read about the adventures of Kid Babylon. Ah, to me, this is the standout character. Death Boy is cool too. Death Boy's cool. Thunderdog and the Outrider. Outrider is another character. Maybe I subconsciously ripped this off. I don't know. And then we got, look at this, Heroic Tales. You could go back, you could get Heroic Tales. Get all these Heroic Tales. Lone Star Press, Austin, Texas. Don't mean to dox you, but are you near there, Bill? So I don't know. This is a big recommend. If you watch my channel for a while, you know I only talk about comic. Well, I can't say that. I mostly talk about comic books that I love. I recommend this comic. It is a good, important comic. What do you do? All the villains are gone. Now the superhero who, okay, we fixed all the problem. You know, like, am I going to spoil Invincible? It's what Robot does. You know, Robert Kirkman rips this off. You know, does he rip it off? I don't know. There's no proof that Robert Kirkman read this comic, but it's the same thing. Once all the villains are vanquished, the overachieving do-gooder who knows better than everybody else takes over the world. And you know, it's such a real concept. I mean, look, we got Carl Schwab right over here. Can you imagine if that guy had super strength and telekinesis? He'd be oppressing us right now. The World Economic Forum wants to kill everybody when they reach 70 years old to reduce the excess eaters. The guy's a supervillain telling us he's a supervillain. You know, what we need is Dynasty and the Patriarch to take him out. I'm still in Austin, still making comics. I didn't want to dox you. Dox. But I love this. This is so good. High recommend. Get the back issues, get the collection, get whatever helps the best. Bill, how would you recommend people to get this? What format? Is there floppies? Is it collected? And Bill has an open Kickstarter stories of Blackheart that you saw in this comic. And you know, that's an old P.O. box. Oh, okay. So there you go. I really dig this comic. It's influential to me as a writer. As I'm looking at this, because I haven't opened this comic in a couple of years, I'm starting to like, oh, geez, you know, maybe some of my homages in Heroic Tales were directly from this, and I didn't realize it, you know, to the point where I might have to change a thing or two, but it's so good. I really like this. I could rave about this for another hour or two, but I will, as normal, just continue talking until the comments stop. Anybody have anything else to say? Devil Flyer, how you doing, Devil Flyer? Indie goodness, absolutely. Oh, somebody asked me yesterday, can you define an independent comic? Hell, oh, how would you guys define an independent comic? Like, to me, an independent comic is anything that's not Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, or Image. Everything else is indie comics, you know what I mean? But that's not quite true. So I started to think about it. Like, an indie comic to me is where the maker is putting up the money themselves. You know, like Cerberus, the Aardvark. To me, that was a truly independent comic. Dave Sim, as far as I know, he was the one financially responsible for that comic. You know, if it didn't sell, if there was a mishap or whatever, he was the one who took the hit. Like when John Byrne did Next Men for Dark Horse Comics, was John Byrne taking a financial risk? So that to me is the I've amended my concept of what is an independent comic. So like crowdfunding, like Bill Williams is crowdfunding a comic. I assume Bill Williams is taking the financial risk. I'm taking the financial risk for Heroic Tales. So I don't have a company or whatever. So it's definitely an indie comic, you know. Greeny is taking the financial risk for Fiendish, you know. Same with so many of us on crowd. So I think it's safe to say anything on crowdfunding is independent, but is Spider-Man's not independent. Nobody's going to argue that Spider-Man Marvel Comics is indie. So what do you guys think? Like for the longest time, I would say anything that wasn't the big four, and the big four being Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, and Image. IDW was there for a while, but IDW kind of defecated the sleeping apparatus. So we got Bill. This comic is available as a back issue. I'm working on a big print collection, but that's still in the planning stage. So there you go. There you go. I think I could say without angering Bill that this comic is a direct inspiration on my comic Heroic Tales. And it's funny that Bill made a comic called Heroic Tales. Maybe that's the old subconscious working in ways that is subconscious, hence the subconscious. But I highest praise for this series. It really takes superheroes, and I know it's going to sound contradictory or hypocritical or whatever when I keep saying, like, I'm tired of all the darkness and deconstructing and stuff like that, but Bill, would it be fair to say that this does superhero deconstruction? Because now that I'm thinking about it, but it's more of a realistic, more of a dark take on superheroes. But again, these are all original characters. You could do what you want. None of these characters were, I think, like on underoos and children's lunchboxes and things like that. So do what you will. But it's just like, it's so well done. It's so well done. It's not shock value. If you read Fables, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I keep saying Bill Williams and Bill Willingham interchangeably, and I apologize. That Bill Willingham, he does like a super realistic take on fantasy, which is really bizarre, but it works. Like he took the big bad wolf, spoiler, and turned him into a detective that used like wolf senses to solve crimes, and then he extrapolated, where does he get the big the big bad wolf? How does he huff and puff and blow? How do it? And he comes up with these wonderful, logical explanations for fairy tales and fables. So good. And he does the same thing with superheroes. So he plays with the Superman trope, he plays with the Batman trope, the inventor trope, the patriotic superhero trope, and puts like a logical, and that's something that I really, really want to do. Bill Willingham really, really is, I would say, like, as far as comic book writers, you got Stan Lee, obviously, anybody working in superheroes, you got to say Stan Lee, Alan Moore, Bill Willingham, and Kurt Busiek. I'm sure I'm missing his name wrong. You mix them all together, and I'd like to think that I took a sip out of that cup. How much of that I drank out of this, that's for you to decide. But that's what I'm going for. Am I successful? I'm not that arrogant to say that I'm not successful, but that's what I'm going for. Let's see. We got this comment. Image started under or was coattail by Malibu. Yeah. Did Malibu started under Image and then was bought by Marvel? I don't know enough about that. I would say that one difference between mainstream and indie is whether the comic is available through Diamond, but that means that a runaway success like the big crowdfunders are indie, but with a huge budget. Okay, I'll buy that. So is creator owned different than indie? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Thus therein lies the conundrum. That's the perplexity of that. Fable's is a great series. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. And again, Bill Williams is getting Bill Willingham. Jeez, I keep mixing up these names. I apologize. Bill Willingham is justifiably miffed at the way he's been treated. Poor guy, you know. I have the series. I loved it. I hope you can get Bill Willingham on your show. I invited him a few times. He's happily reclusive. You know, I would love to talk to Bill Willingham. He's one of my Grail guests. He's one of my Grail guests. I make no bones about it. Alan Moore, John Byrne, Bill Willingham are my Grail guests. I would be so happy. I met Bill Willingham when I was a kid. He was at a comic convention in Rockville Center that in Holiday Inns had these small conventions. And I naively, arrogantly, stupidly, whatever, just sat next to him and talked his ear off while he was drawing. And I remember he was drawing Fathom's Foot. And I forget what issue of the Elementals that was in, but I was like, I was there when he was drawing that. He was real nice. He signed my copy. He was real pleasant. I'm sure he wouldn't remember the chubby kid sitting next to him talking his ear off. I would like to think that he was pleasant, but then again, he was on, and it was the beginning of his career, and it wasn't like I was distracting him. I'm making rationalizations for taking over his time, but I'd like to think that he enjoyed the interaction that I had. Don't tell me otherwise. It's a cherished memory. I think if you license a comic like Charlie's London, you're still indie. Yeah, Charlie's London. As far as for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Aisha, I don't know her last name, but she makes a comic called Charlie's London. It's about Charlie Chaplin, and she's doing it for the Charlie Chaplin estate. As far as I know, she's raising the funds and then like selling it to him, but I don't know. But yeah, it's an indie comic. It's an indie comic. I know you love his work, the Elementals and everything. I hope you'll make an exception. We could hope. We could hope. Oh, Bill's got to go. Have an awesome Sunday, Bill. Thank you. Thank you. Again, Bill is the letterer for my comic. He did more than that. He also he did formatting and did all the stuff that I have no concept of how to do. Bill is instrumental of my comic. Richard C. Meyer said this when he was working with Narwhal, that his comics are 100% Narwhal and 100% Richard C. Meyer. And I get that now that I work like without anybody on my comic wouldn't happen. Without Bill, there wouldn't be a comic. Without Renzo, without Oscar, without everybody, without Luke Stone, there wouldn't be a comic. Without Nick Axe, there wouldn't be a comic. And they are the Avengers. We need them all. The Avengers wouldn't succeed without anybody. So yeah, go check out Blackheart on Kickstarter. If Marcus is still here, if you could put that link in the chat. It's in demand on Kickstarter. I know Bill worked with the other Bill on Pantheon. Yeah, this Bill worked with the other Bill. Yeah. Let's show the credits one more time because my mouth keeps mixing up the Bill Willingham, writer, cover paint, Bill Williams, inker, and also publisher, editor. So there you go. And my crazy mouth. I know Bill gets that a lot. So there you go. It's funny because when I had Bill Williams on my channel, people were, wow, you got Bill Willingham? No, Bill Williams. There you go. That's Sunday Comics. Anything else, Bueller? I'll finish my coffee and start the Upteenth rewrite on Eddie is Doomed. I got to get the script to Oscar right away. He's chomping at the bit. So, bye-bye, everybody. I hope the Bills get to work together again. Yeah, me too. Because good stuff happens. All right, see you, everybody. Bye-bye.